Guys, before the video starts, this is very important. See this Bionic Pig plushie? Isn't he cute? Why don't you go buy him right now? Because we are at 70 out of 200. If we reach this 200 goal, that means all of these get produced and shipped out to you guys. If we don't reach that 200 goal, then that means they don't get shipped out. You guys get a refund, and then you don't get your plushies. So come on. We got to get this 200 goal, please. I'm begging. Okay.
Hello, Daniel. Damn. Those shoes, Daniel. So live action movies, we all know them as something that normally doesn't really turn out great. I mean, cartoons, animes, games, or anything like that that ends up being made into a real life movie don't ever tend to be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is the occasional decent one that comes out, but I would say 90% of the time, they're absolute garbage. Because let's be real, when it comes to cartoons, and especially anime, 50% of the reason we're watching it is because of the animation itself. And today I want to talk about one of the good ones of the bunch. The Scooby-Doo movie. Yes, the classic Scooby-Doo movie. And watching this movie as an adult was just something special because there are countless jokes that I missed as a child that were, you know, supposed to be for adults that I get now that I didn't understand back then. And the reason I consider this movie to be one of the better live action movies is they didn't go too cartoon, but at the same time, they didn't try to make it too realistic. It's that sweet spot in the middle. And that's a problem with a lot of live action movies. Sometimes they're way too cartoony where it just doesn't really make sense, or sometimes they're just way too realistic where it's just like, what's even the point? And not only that, but you kind of lose that cartoonish personality when, you know, it's trying to come out of a real person's mouth instead of the animated character. But every actor in this movie did a fantastic job at portraying their character, especially Matthew Lillard, who played Shaggy. He did so well, he actually went on to voice the majority of the future cartoons of Scooby-Doo. And he definitely was a better choice than what they were planning on in the first place, because I don't know if you guys know this, but originally Jim Carrey was supposed to play the role, and then when he left, Mike Myers was second in the running. Now, I'll be honest, I love Jim Carrey, love Mike Myers, but boy, I don't really foresee them portraying a Shaggy character that well. I mean, maybe Jim Carrey, but he ain't a Matthew Lillard. Also, another interesting fact, this movie was produced by Charles Roven. Yes, the Charles Roven that produced The Dark Knight, Justice League, Suicide Squad, and many more. So the movie starts out with a classic episodic scene of Scooby-Doo and the gang tackling a ghost. And the ghost apparently just keeps grabbing Daphne's ass.
Hurry it up! This ghost keeps grabbing. Ah!
Which turns out is a bit creepy because later on we find out that it's actually just an old man. So it's just an old man just grabbing some ass. So the whole beginning scene is basically just showing the team's faults. Fred is just way too interested in himself rather than caring about the team. Daphne is always becoming the damsel in distress. And Velma, well, Velma's just more pissed off that Fred kind of takes credit for everything that she does. And Shaggy and Scooby, you know, they're just kind of Shaggy and Scooby.
Like there's a ghost right behind me, isn't there?
And I like what they did with the movie because they basically took every single cliche and trope of each character in the cartoons and kind of brought light to it in a self-aware way. So after they flub around a little bit, they end up finally capturing the old man, and then Pamela Anderson pops out of nowhere and flirts with Fred. Why is she even in this movie? As they're walking out, they have a little spat, and then Daphne steals Velma's glasses. And I find this part to just be hilarious because she just instantly, when her glasses are taken, boom, vision gone, starts looking on the floor. Like, I get that that's the trope of the cartoon, but just seeing it in real life just makes it hilarious. So they all get mad at each other and end up breaking up, so the gang is no more. And then we skip 2 years later. And then we see Shaggy and Scooby hotboxing in the Mystery Machine. And this is one of those little things that I didn't get when I was a kid. And apparently this movie was rated PG-13 originally, and also Shaggy was supposed to be smoking weed in the actual movie, but apparently they kind of put it down to PG. They replaced the weed with food, which actually is hilarious because there are so many references to weed in this movie, and boy, I'm here for it. I mean, they start out the scene with reggae music. They pan over to the Mystery Machine with smoke coming out of the top, and then Shaggy says that he's getting toasted.
Talk about toasted.
That's some good shit. Even try to run away acting like they're in trouble when someone was knocking on the door, and they even try to hide the food like it's weed. This is some good shit. Shaggy and Scooby end up getting an invitation to Spooky Island in order to help solve a mystery, and it just so happens that everyone else in the gang got the same offer.
You don't go near any place with spooky, haunted, forbidden, or creepy in the name.
Well, hydrochloric?
Right, or hydroclonic, but that's for a whole different reason, man.
Hello, it is I, the Doctor, and I'm here to explain what hydrochloronic means. Basically, it is when you take water, you spray it up your asshole, you get all that blockage out of there. Basically a water enema. You can kind of achieve the same thing with, say, G Fuel, for example. And if you act now, you can get 30% off your order at gfuel.com if you use code PIG to get your fresh G Fuel. Use it for your G Fuel enemas.
Please do not spray G Fuel up your ass because it probably won't feel good.
I am the Doctor. So they all end up meeting together. Fred apparently wrote a book about himself. Velma works for NASA. Daphne knows Kung Fu. Now you're all caught up. Oh yeah, and Scooby-Doo dresses like a grandma to get on the plane because they don't allow dogs on the plane. And on said flight, Shaggy gets horny for Mary Jane. And no, I am not talking about the stanky danky. I'm actually talking about a girl named Mary Jane.
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
How did they lay it on that thick and it still didn't click with me? I mean, I guess I was very young, but still. Mary Jane is a common nickname used to describe marijuana. You know, you don't really need to describe every single joke that is said in this movie. But of course, I am the Doctor. Would you like to buy some weed? Shaggy and Mary Jane start hitting it off, and the first thing they have in common, what is that, you ask? They both eat dog treats.
I know they're for dogs. They're 100% vegetarian, and I love them.
Now, obviously, in the cartoon, Scooby snacks, like this is a very known thing about Shaggy, but I don't know what it is about putting it in real life and seeing a dude just eating dog treats and then her eating dog treats. I'm like, oh my God. Well, no, I've never met someone else who eats dog treats. Oh my God, you eat dog treats too? I'm thinking, so they arrive at Spooky Island, which I just want to mention. What the hell, Universal? Why have you not made the Spooky Island in real life? Make it a theme park. I want this as a theme park. Now we meet Mr. Bean, who apparently can speak words.
Claws and everything.
And he tells the mystery gang that strange things are happening to the people who are leaving the island.
Real fun!
Carol, what are you doing?
Ah, yes, I see the problem here. Why would you wear your hair like that? Like who? What an idiot. So the next scene is a bald guy and a luchador trying to scare Velma by telling her a story about how this theme park was built on a spooky island with ancient monsters, and now the monsters are angry. Honestly, this is surprising to me because this is the first time I actually realized the motivation of the monsters themselves. As a kid, I guess I just assumed they were just monsters, so they just attack people. I never really actually heard I was a dumb child. Scooby-Doo randomly gets a call, and it's a spooky voice basically telling him that there's hamburgers in the woods.
Got a bag of hamburgers here for you. Just walk into the dark, shadowy part of the forest where no one can see you.
And I think I'm just going to start assuming that every time I hear anything about food or hamburgers, we're just going to assume they're talking about the dank. So while Scooby is searching for the burgers, Daphne runs into a voodoo guy, which honestly, I find this character one of the best in the movie because I'm glad they didn't go for the basic stereotype of a voodoo person. You know, they're just creepy. They're just being dark and mysterious. This dude's just straight up about everything.
Dang it! What are you doing? Now I have to start my voodoo ritual all over again. Well, here's a clue. Purple is a fall color. It's the middle of May.
So he tells her not to go to the creepy castle on the hill, and so naturally she heads to that creepy castle on the hill. And then Scooby ends up finding the hamburger and ends up running into a monster, which he proceeds to massacre said monster. God damn, Scoob. You destroyed him. Daphne, Scooby, and Shaggy all head to the spooky castle in order to find some clues, and it just so happens that Velma and Fred have arrived as well. Wait, is that someone watching this? Oh, God! Whoa! I don't remember this part. Why don't I remember this part? So the spooky Loompa ends up turning on the ride, and apparently this ride is just a death trap because everything just tries to kill them. Man, their insurance must be through the roof. Shaggy and Scooby get tied to a wall with a bunch of wieners, and what in God's name is that? I don't like where this is going. Oh Lord, I've seen way too much hentai to not know where this is going. Fred and Velma get trapped by 2 swinging blades, and Daphne is hurtling down the tracks toward a bunch of swords. Jump off. Jump off of the ride. Like, you don't have to stay on it. Honestly, I'm just realizing now that, like, every single one of them came super close to dying a horrible death. Fred blocks the oncoming blade with the fat book. The ride that Daphne's on stops like an inch before the blades. Why didn't she just jump off? I don't know. And Shaggy and Scooby almost get their asses ate by Alien the movie. Fred and Velma find the secret control room, and Fred just accidentally happens upon the correct button to play a training video. And this is single-handedly the best training video of all time. It follows a lady explaining that there are societal do's and don'ts, and they show an example of what not to do.
Hey, sorry, bro.
I will crush your bones into dust!
And what actually to do.
No big whoop, dog. Yo, did you catch that new vid on the box?
I'm up to snuff on all popular trends.
Word.
And again, this is one of those things I didn't realize when I was a child, but this training video is for the monsters to blend into society. And the reason I find this funny is I never understood why all of the monsters ended up talking like 90s dudes on a skateboard that like to say that things are tight. And now I finally understand why. Dear Lord, why was I such a dumb child? Oh yeah, also Daphne finds something called the Daemon-ritis, which is supposed to be an ancient relic of the monsters or some shit. Then comes the one scene that lives in infamy. The Bart scene. Well, I mean, I guess it's not the entire scene itself, it's just the one line from Shaggy that says, are you challenging me?
Are you challenging me?
This entire scene is literally just battle of farts. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really necessarily find this funny when I was a child, and I don't really find it funny now. But don't get me wrong, I appreciate a good fart joke here and there. I don't know, maybe farting just isn't my thing. Me and farts don't get along, you know? I'm honestly jealous that females can't physically fart.
Well, actually.
No! Stop! Don't you ruin this for me! So Velma starts chatting it up with a random dude, and I guess I can take this opportunity to say that originally, little known fact, Velma was actually supposed to be a lesbian in this movie. They were also going to make Velma and Daphne kiss in this movie. Boy, that would have been a very interesting ride back in 2002, I tell you what. But anyway, Velma has a little flashback of the crew, and we are introduced to the infamous Scrappy-Doo. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure how Scrappy acts as like a cartoon character. I've never really watched any Scooby-Doo shows with Scrappy in it. I just know of him. But in the movie, he's just a perverted, weird dog that everyone hates. I mean, he literally pees on Daphne to mark his territory.
A good dose of puppy power! Ta-da! It was an accident!
You were marking your territory.
But they end up getting so mad at him, they just drop him on the side of the road.
You can't do this to me! People adore me!
What are they doing to that poor beloved dog? PETA, you don't understand, okay? It's not even real. It's a fictional dog from a cartoon.
What? Just because it's not real, you just think it's okay? No, it's not.
I don't get it, PETA. Are you just spying on me the whole time?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've been living under the stairs for like a month now, and, you know, like Harry Potter, and just like Harry Potter, I also am a wizard. Yeah.
So we cut back to drunk Velma, and then boom, monsters start climbing through the windows. They start snatching up teenagers, burping in their faces, making them pass out. It's a massacre. And the people who end up making it out alive are none other than Shaggy, Scooby, Mary Jane, and Daphne. They escape from it, and I guess they just fell asleep on the beach. I don't really know why, but they wake up the next morning and all of the windows that were busted out are fixed, and everyone is outside just playing around while Sugar Ray just awkwardly stares at Daphne in the background. And this is where that 90s lingo tutorial video comes into play, because everyone is just speaking in very painful 90s lingo, and I love it.
Yo, the biatch was like, what? And I was like, later on. Man, we got beats like it was the Lizness on Earth. You know what I'm saying, G?
You know, to be honest, I'm kind of surprised he got away with saying biatch in a PG movie. Is biatch like the lesser version of bitch? I thought it was the same thing. Maybe I'm just stupid. Ah, man. Hiding in a building while Sugar Ray breaks windows with their guitars trying to kill me? That's how I'd want to go. They get away by riding ATVs away from them and end up running into Mary Jane. Then Mary just gets smacked in the face by a branch, and then it shows that she's a monster. And I don't really get some of this. How come every monster can only talk in a shitty 90s lingo, but she, as a monster, can talk exactly like the original Mary Jane and can even trick Shaggy and Scooby? Also, like, are the monsters wearing their skin? Or are they just controlling their body? Because I don't think, like, their skin would do that. I don't know the science behind it, okay? You know, where the hell's the doctor? This is like the one time I need the doctor to explain something and he's not gonna be here. So she ends up fooling them so much that Shaggy and Scooby get into a fight, and then Scooby just gets freaking yoinked, or should I say zoinked. But yeah, he gets taken away, and then Shaggy starts going to look for him.
Don't quit! Scooby-Doo! Where are you?
Oh! He said the thing! So Shaggy ends up discovering a bowl of soul soup, or I guess I should say protoplasm soup, because for some reason they're calling their souls just protoplasm. Shaggy manages to fish out Velma, Fred, and Daphne? What? When did she get caught? So Velma, in a low-cut shirt, gets back to her body and sees that the monsters are destroyed by sunlight. So Velma ends up helping Daphne to kill the monster, but uh-oh, it looks like Fred's inside Daphne's body.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
All right. I mean... And I just want to mention, honestly, that Fred acting like Daphne and Daphne acting like Fred was done pretty well.
Get your hands off me. Daphne? He planned this somehow, didn't he?
And honestly, the whole scene of like their souls flopping into each other's body and they all act like each other was a pretty funny scene. I think they all did a good job at that part. Anyway, they all get back to their bodies and find out that in order to complete the ritual, they need a pure soul. And it just so happens that it's Scooby.
Well, duh. Only an animal can have a pure soul.
And also they piece together that Mr. Bean is actually the bad guy. And instead of forcing Scooby-Doo to become a sacrifice, the dude just mans up, walks up to him, and just asks him politely to be a sacrifice.
I would like you to be a sacrifice.
And honestly, why can't more people be like this? Like if a dude was running up, about to kidnap me, he stops and he's like, bro, I really want to snatch you up today. Like, I'm really feeling like kidnapping you. Would you do me the honor of letting me kidnap you? And then, I don't know. Maybe I'd let him. Like, maybe I'd let him. Like, obviously, I'm not going to let him if he just starts grabbing at me. Like, what the heck? No. I need a little bit of preemptive asking, if you will. The gang has a little sappy heart-to-heart moment, and they decide they're going to band together to save Scooby. So they have a little montage of them setting up traps for the ritual, which I find funny because I guess no one is standing guard of the place that they're going to hold a ritual to take over the entire world. Seems a bit sus.
Bruh.
No
Bruh.
more Fortnite!
Bruh.
No more
If you ask me. So Fred and Velma end up getting caught and they take the Damon Ritus from them, while Shaggy ends up knocking out a dude, stealing his clothes and dressing up like a spooky guy to convince Scooby to forgive him for yelling at him. And just when they finally made up and they agree to run away, Scooby's protoplasm gets yoinked, or once again, I'm gonna say it, zoinked out of his body. So Mr. Bean just starts just sucking all of that protoplasm into his yeah. And then after he sucks in like half of the protoplasm, we find out all along that it was actually Scrappy-Doo.
Oh, this is what I've been telling you. Don't leave your dogs on the side of the road. You never know when they're gonna try to take over the world by using an ancient monster species and stealing the protoplasm of all these innocent people in order to turn in some grotesque dog creature and try to kill you.
God damn it, Peter, you're an American hero. and I love you for it.
The more you know.
Also, I kind of love the part while the gang is fighting Scrappy, Daphne is going toe-to-toe with the luchador guy. And honestly, the fight scene is pretty well made. And how she ends up winning is she bites his hand and does like a sick flip karate, kick him into a hole. And it was a good fight. I kind of liked it. So Daphne kicks the guy into the protoplasm soup, knocks everybody's souls away, and then Shaggy zoinks Scrappy's juice, and then he just it's just protoplasm everywhere. And then Daphne and Fred just start sucking face. Yeah! Yeah! And then Velma starts breathing on that one guy. I don't know, they never said his name, but yeah! Yeah! And then Shaggy gets a taste of the Mary Jane, if you know what I mean. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, in all of its glory. Scooby-Doo, the movie. Please let me know in the comments below if you agree with my opinions on this movie. Also, please let me know if you have any ideas of what I can review next. Follow me on Instagram if you want to decide what I'm going to review next, because I tend to do polls on there because I'm a very indecisive person. And thank you, everyone, for watching this video. I appreciate you all. Please subscribe, please like, and please share with your dogs. Your dog, just your dogs. I honestly could care less. Just show it to your dogs. I'm out.
You know the way I feel about you, but you ask me how I'm feeling now. You know the way I think about you.